All right, and welcome to the latest episode of The Altar. We've got me, we've got Ben, not Ben, sorry, Ben's not here because he's lame. And my audio capture's messed up, so that's cool. Oh no, we're fixed. We're good. My video capture's good. So, yeah. So, what are we talking about today? Nothing? Nothing importance?
You're the one that usually brings the topic. That's why me and Ben
Well,
kind of just shit
as
our pants.
as everyone can clearly see, I'm out of jail. I'm no longer detained by my brother. And why I'm no longer detained is I ratted out our Jewish co-host Ben. I said Ben's up to something. My brother's like, "What do you got on him?" I'm like, "Well, he's Jewish," and he's like, "Okay, well, we're gonna take him in." They got him in, and Ben said he was innocent. They're like, "We know you're not," so they let me free. So Ben, sorry about that. I'll snitch if it benefits me. I don't care.
Fucking rat. Fucking rat. Howdy.
Could you
You're not wearing
imagine?
sunglasses, dude. What the fuck?
My sunglasses are upstairs. I was kind of rushing on this
Um,
last bit because it was like my dad could come over. They bring over a workout machine, so now I have no excuse. I can work out now. Um, so like I got that loaded in. I got a drill press loaded into my shed. Did that. And I came in was and helping my wife hold the baby, and then she was like, "I'm like, oh, do you want to take the baby now?" This was like 8:25, right? So like 8:25.
yeah.
I'm like, hey, do you want to take the baby? She's like, why? I'm like, because I got the podcast. She's like, oh, that's right. She's like, I was just like, you wouldn't do it. I'm like, you're the one that said to do it at the house. I'm like, yeah. But she's like, but like, like I don't want you doing it at work because you get paid. You're getting like paid during that time or whatever. I'm like, well, like I take 30 minutes of it's lunch and I technically don't get paid for it. Whatever. She's just like, well, now you can't do it at work, so you got to do it here. She's like, well, can you make it a little shorter? I'm like, depends on what we got going on. Normally, like tonight, we could probably keep it pretty chill around 30, 45 minutes or something. But me and her are gonna have to have a little conversation about who wears the pants and how snug does she like them. So no, there's like a couple things going on this week that I found
Mhm.
interesting. Mainly I would just it was amazing to me that Ben doesn't know how to use the Domino's app. I was like,
That's
I was
shocking.
listening to the episode you guys did. I'm like, what a train wreck! You guys are so lost without me. No, just kidding. That wasn't the case. You did all
Like a
right.
sheep without the shepherd.
Mm-hmm. But no. So updates on me, how I'm using the system to my favor because I'm more on the collapsitarian aspect.
Mhm.
Basically, just let the government fucking keep printing money at this point. Just let it collapse because no one they're not going to secede, right? So just let it collapse. So my state has it that they do child care subsidy program, right?
Mhm.
To where if you are under a certain income threshold, you can get you can get help financially paying for childcare, and they raised the limit to where now I'm eligible to where, so instead of paying like $1,000 a month for two kids, I'll
Mhm.
pay 700 and some odd, like 750, right? Because like it's like 10% of your, I think it's 10% of your monthly gross, and I think that's like 700 and something. I don't have to run it, but it's basically I'm right under the maximum limit. So, but now where it's going to benefit me is that I was getting ready to pay my newborn is going to daycare tomorrow starting. So with that, I would be paying like $1,600 a month. Oh, that's the other thing. For the rest of the year, it's free. There's no co-payment, so I get free childcare, right? Quote unquote free for the rest of the year.
Free.
And then at the start of the new year, I get it's 10%, so it's like $700, 700 some odd dollars instead of 1,600. So I'm like super based. I'm like this, there's no
Red
negative.
pill even.
There's no yeah, red pill even. So I'm like there's no negative consequences that ever come from this. So I'm abusing the system like that. I can't update my monthly child payment to $900 until September. Fucking
Mhm.
IRS, pick it up. Oh. Mm. That was, damn it, I completely forgot there was something that you guys did that I wanted to bring up. I completely spaced it. I'm feeling
Not
stupid.
about dominoes again, is it?
No, it was I don't know. I'll circle back. My brain's all over the place on stuff to do. Oh, like Ben thought I was listening. That's not what I'm talking about. Ben thought I was listening last week. I wasn't. I literally just opened I opened it up on my phone real quick to see how it was going, and he had the cursor on the fucking
Oh, on the
screen,
screen, yeah.
and he didn't even like zoom it in. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? What are you doing with your life? So
Be worse. Could have been. You could have had me on the reins, and then the video just wouldn't happen.
yeah, Ben, we got to get set up because I've been set up to do it
Mm-hmm.
if you need to, but we need to get you set up to where you could just if we're me and him because Ben is detained, obviously. Um,
No.
so we just do it to, like, let's say if I'm detained again, that
Mm-hmm.
you can do something. But I think it should be like a special gamer episode. Playing some Call of Duty, being racist.
Oh, well, then I would just stream it, and then I would just have it under the moonlit altar.
Yeah,
At
that's
that point, under my own
yeah.
account.
I just have to give you access.
Mm-hmm.
It was for a brief moment. I looked over at the screen and I thought I didn't click the stream button on YouTube. I was like, that'd been very awkward.
You and I were just having a conversation.
Yeah, just typical stuff.
The importance was actually happening,
Yeah,
which
so
isn't a change from anything actually.
mm. Now I remember what I want to actually talk about for this episode in the
Mm-hmm.
beginning before we get derailed. Is that did you hear about the infrastructure bill that they're doing? That they have bipartisan support for it.
No, I heard nothing about that. I
Oh, well, I guess, well, because one of the things in there is I think they were going to tax crypto in a certain way to fund the infrastructure bill, right? And I don't know if that's still in there, but they also
I don't
had,
know how you can do that.
yeah, I don't, if it's over something in the
That's kind of
companies.
the whole point. I feel like more people who are involved with crypto that are, just fucking jerk offs to have sex with Elon Musk are probably some people who are pretty high up and probably see that crypto is like one of the few exceptions to these kind of things where they probably wouldn't want to tax. And I mean, you can't tax the crypto itself. I guess when you're withdrawing that money,
What it,
it'd be taxed. But wouldn't that already be the case in most circumstances, one
yeah,
way or
like
another?
if you take out a certain amount, because they look at it as like a capital gains tax. So basically what happens is if you take it out within a year or 2 years, I'm trying to remember I think it's 1 year. If it's within a year, it's a short term gain and you have to pay like I think you have to pay like 35%, right? But if it's after a year, they consider it long term gain. And then the taxes on that is significantly less. I don't know if it's like 10-15% or something.
Mm-hmm.
But but if it's like under a certain amount for the year, I don't think and if it just gets added to your income, I think. And if it doesn't push you into the new bracket, you don't have to pay additional taxes. I actually think Ben got boned on crypto a couple of years ago because he had to claim it because I think Coinbase or whatever, like, because they notify the government what happened, right? They send the files over. So he got bumped just to the next tax bracket and had to pay
Oh, but
like
he's on like the lower end of that tax
yeah.
too.
So like he got bumped up to whatever the next one. And he's like I was wondering why like I owed more than usual. Like I think he probably normally didn't owe or something. I don't know. He'll correct me later. But he's like so pissed. He's like, fucking crypto. I'm like, yeah, that's why you just don't do it, dude. Sit on it, hold it. But there was
I'm
another.
very pro long term investing, anyways. This shit's way smarter.
Yeah, I'm holding my
I have a
crypto.
life. I'm not day trading at work like some fucking asshole.
Yeah, my crypto is looking pretty good right now. Cardano, ADA is back up again. Everything's going back up again, which I didn't have a concern about.
Yeah, no, I mean at least the upwards trend, at least from the market, at least on my investments, there was a dip between around June 19th, a dip on July 8th, and a dip on July 19th. Other than that, like it's just been upward trend overall. Anyhow,
Yeah,
nothing too crazy.
yeah. So the whole like taxi crypto. I mean, because if someone holds it and doesn't do anything with it, like, are they like well, if the Bernie Sanders is it speculation? I don't know if the fuck it is. That's something else. Like, But no, like you have to. It's a nightmare, and I don't think the government's prepared to actually do that because they're so incompetent. But you never know; they might figure it out. They might put all their effort into that if more people get more mainstream about it. But then I'll have so much money.
Mhm.
Well, dude, if like everyone hopped on crypto right now, right, got in the game, it would
Mhm.
fucking the government would steamroll over to try to figure out
How to
quicker
tax.
how to tax the shit out of it.
Yeah. But right now, it's still in that it's getting more mainstream, but it's still in that weird area where they don't know enough. I'm sure they can have people they can hire on or experts in that field probably very quickly. I mean, you offer anybody enough money, some people fucking turn up. But
Yeah, it's like
it's
I'm
one
not
of those.
gay, but $20
It's
is
a
twenty
matter of
bucks. You know what I mean?
yeah. It's a matter of time thing, like anything. If it's a matter of time in the sense of if there's an incentive to tax it, they will find a way to tax it when they can. Right
Yeah,
now, at the moment, I feel like it's almost too early. They want to get enough. If people find out you have to pay taxes directly on it, like just buying the crypto itself, all that kind of stuff. I mean, again, I don't buy crypto, so I don't know the details of how everything works. But if you have to buy crypto and then down the line, I'm sorry, no, if you start off with getting it taxed, that's going to be another reason people may not want to get into it. So maybe they're waiting until it's big enough
I th-
where it becomes taxable. It's like really any other thing like the
I think
it
basically
needs enough time. I guess would be the way.
I, th- I think how they're gonna go about it is that you're not gonna get taxed at purchase time, right? So you took your money that's after taxes and
Mm-hmm.
bought it, right? So they're like, okay, yeah, you go take the risk, like normal with everything else. You take the risk, you buy it.
They may treat it like a stock in itself,
Yeah.
where it's
Well,
you
that's how I describe crypto to people. Like it's a stock that you can buy things with, right? Like, well, right now it's like,
it works as a currency
mhm.
as well. I mean, I don't know what place is going to take crypto.
Oh, dude,
To be quite
I actually reserved a hotel room for my brother's bachelor party with crypto with Bitcoin.
really,
Yeah, that was
was it like Vegas or something?
no, it was in Illinois, Chicago. Uh,
That's fucking.
no,
Oh,
it was
okay. Well, still a major city though.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay.
Because it was funny. Because I didn't really have any Bitcoin at the time, but like I put like
Mm.
a partial Bitcoin payment down because I just thought it was funny. I was like I could, and I wasn't even an anarchist yet, dude. I wasn't even like I was a libertarian that didn't know I was a libertarian, right? So wait, no, it wasn't my brother's.
The
It
timeline.
was
Your
no,
time.
I lied. It was not my brother's. It was my brother-in-law. His bachelor party that I did it because I'm like, yeah, why would I have even known about crypto, the Bitcoin back in 2013? It wasn't. It was when it was 2016, 2017 when he got married. So that's
Hmm.
more in line. But yeah, no, it's like they had an option to pay with Bitcoin, and I was like, hell yeah. And I think that was what hotel was it? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the hotel because they probably don't do it anymore because of how volatile it is.
Hmm.
It's like, yeah, I, they got money for a room, and then the Bitcoin tanks, and then it's not where someone got like they got lost half the money for a room, but it doesn't really matter. They don't clean the semen off of anything. But yeah, no, but more places are starting to accept like crypto. And I think Ada, for example, is trying to make it like to where they have like ATMs you could use for that. Coinbase is going to have a card you could use to purchase things with your with said card, like a Coinbase card. You could use crypto to pay
Hmm.
for stuff. So it kind of seems like I don't know. I haven't looked into that too much, but it kind of seems like a way to like circumvent having to pay for it. Like, well, I just use that to pay for stuff. So it's like my money is already in there, blah blah. So I guess
Yeah.
it's kind of like I don't know if it's like it. I don't know much about retirement shit either. Like if it's like a Roth IRA where it's you could put in tax free, but when you pull it out, you have to get taxes. Or if the Roth is you pay after I don't know how this shit works. I'm not old enough yet to really care. Eight is my
Sounds
retirement
good either
plan.
way.
Oh yeah, it's really boring stuff you don't have to worry about, dude. You're like 15. Who cares, right? So the other thing in this infrastructure bill was to implement where vehicles have to have like a sobriety test in it, like built in, starting in
Mhm.
like 2027 or something, to where like every car you buy, like it has to have something to where you need to blow and go or something along those lines. I'm probably butchering what the words are, but
Mhm.
because it's the government, it's probably something like that. So, but the biggest thing to take away from this is that if you right now of how hostile everyone is together, whenever there's actually a bill that's getting passed that's bipartisan, everyone should be fucking worried
Yeah,
of what's in it
that
because there's
there's
no
almost
way.
no worse politically speaking
Mm-hmm.
when it's bipartisan. 'Cause that means everybody is on the same page. No one's trying to like pretend that they're trying to do the right thing. This is just means somebody got paid off, or a lot of people got paid off, and it means the intent for this is something else. I mean, listen, drunk driving is fucking awful and fun, allegedly. Um,
Allegedly.
but it's the same thing with those. I mean, for people who have a DUI and they have one of those things put into the vehicle, I could literally, if I was a scumbag, I could ask my friend who's sober to blow into it, and then I get in the car and it starts up.
Oh,
That's already a thing people do.
they have updated that is well, I know the blow and go so you don't drive, but they've updated an extra measure depending on
Mm-hmm.
because my buddy Mike back in how long have I been married now? I think it was 2017. He was drunk and he drove home. He fucking like hit a tree or something, and he like what they made him do a blow and go thing, but it's something to like he has to blow into it every couple hours, and
Mm-hmm.
it got a camera on it to where it sees his face and it did facial recognition. And this is
Uh-huh.
in Illinois, by the way. So
Mm-hmm.
like he had to blow in every 2 hours or something throughout the day. He's like, but the last check-in time was like 10 or 11 o'clock, and then from that point it was like 6 a.m. So what he figured out, he tested. He's like, okay, so at 11 o'clock, I do my last blow and go, like blow and like go like do the face thing because they have to verify you're like the one blowing into it, right? So you can't have your buddy do it for you
Yeah.
and do your shit. So he'd blow in it like at 10, and then he'd fucking drink a shitload right there and then, get buzzed, and he'd be sober by the time he had to check in at 6 a.m. It was fucking super base because he came out to our fucking wedding party after, and he was sitting at the table with the shots of Fireball ready to go. He's like, "Yeah, hold on, one second." He's like, he did it. What's funny is like they should have the thing on the like like to realize you're in a bar, you're in a shitty setting. It's like, oh no, my light bill went out. That's why it's so dark in here. But he fucking did it, and then he's like, all right, cool, I'm good. He's like, "Hey, congratulations, I get married," and he did the shots of Fireball with us. I'm like, you're a fucking madman, and I respect it.
I
Crazy.
I always worry about like more laws because that's like one of the few things. One, it's like one of those like it's an American thing. Not that you couldn't just drive from fucking Portugal all the way to Eastern Europe, Russia, all the way into China in the end of the day, technically. But America, it's very much like I can go in my car and I can visit all 48 of the continental U.S. if I wanted to. But now those talks about um, they tax you on how much gas you use is eventually going to be a
Oh
thing.
yeah, that was
For
actually, I
example,
think that was a part of the
that one
infrastructure
a
bill.
lot of people are not going
Yeah.
to be because that's just another way to force electrification. Which yet again, I'm not against electric cars. I'm against them being the only option you have, and it being a detriment for you to own a gas vehicle. Because the reality is, the tech for electric cars, we're at a good point right now for electric cars being more common,
Mhm.
especially on the higher end. But the problem is, I mean, there's a few problems. I mean, your lithium batteries, the mining resource for that lithium itself
Hey man, the child
are.
slaves to get those that lithium. That's pretty based. Could you
But I
imagine
mean,
that?
I actually was just watching something, and basically, I think the study was in 2018. Basically, a gallon of gasoline nets you the same power and he had like a whole table full of these like LaCroix cans. It covered the whole table basically. Those battery equivalents take up the whole table to the 1 gallon of gasoline. And one is 6 pounds, the other one is a way fuck ton more weight.
Yeah.
And it's of a mineral that we have a hard time getting outside of trying to do a coup in South America, South Africa. And gasoline or its derivatives, I mean, there has been science to make gasoline better or a more eco-friendly version of it. And I don't want to research that as much for some reason. Probably because a lot of people got killed over it back in the 70s and the 80s because oil companies didn't want to lose money. Because
Yeah.
you know they were saying like, oh, we can have a gallon of gas and put a car 40 miles. That guy got he got suicided by 2 shots in the head or whatever the fuck happened to him.
It's crazy how that happens so often, you know?
Yeah, it's weird. And like stuff like that either has existed or is very possible to exist. More so again, because yet again, the people who do study those things, for the most part, either were shut down or shot. And then meanwhile, doing all this battery stuff means that it's gonna be electric. Now it's gonna be over-the-air updates, which means a dealership could fuck you over. Second you're out of warranty, they can purposely add an update or something a little small and add a little virus. I mean, all this kind of stuff is like, it's very worrying. With a car, I mean, yeah, you still hack any car. Been made pretty much since the 90s, if not a little bit earlier, even to some extent, either by plugging into the OBD2 sensor or what have you. But now it's even easier, and it's been proven several times that you could have cars to drive themselves, activate the window wipers to fucking lock seatbelts in some cars, to shut off the, if it's electric steering wheel, the fuck with the steering wheel. Same with the brakes now because electrified brakes. I mean, that stuff is worrying in that sense, as well as the freedom of choice on your options. Yet again, electric cars are fucking awesome in some ways. I mean, the electric Porsche, fucking one of the coolest things ever in my opinion. I'll never own one because if I want to get a Porsche, I'm going to get a real Porsche. I'm going to get GT3 and B4.
Be a man.
But
yeah,
be a man. Crash your car into a pole. Be a man.
Be a man.
Be a man. But stuff like taxing on how much gas you use. Keep in mind, gas is already taxed. And depending on which state, it can be taxed way too much. All taxes are too much, but you get my point. These things are like ways to reduce your mobility as a person. Because I could drive from where I am now all the way to LA. I'd probably spend, I'll say from New York to LA is about what, 3,000 miles, right?
Yeah, sure.
So we say 3,000 miles. And then let's say my car technically gets about, if I'm driving only highway with the eco mode on, I can get up to like 400 to almost 500 miles a gallon. So let's say 400. So 400 miles a gallon. Gas costs with it takes premium, so we'll say about $4. So $4 times 400 times 3,000. It's a lot of money because yet again, expensive gas. I'll probably do the math wrong here somehow. Yeah. Let's say it's about $4,800 for gas. There's probably a number I fucked up. It's a lot of money, but then you add a tax on how much gas you use, and then you say it's times, let's say 0.0865, which is like how it is around my general area, or 0.82, whatever the fuck. That's another couple $100 or even $1,000 on top, depending on how the taxes are done. Mm-hmm. So going across the country, which still a lot of money, it's going to be even more money now. If I want to leave from here and go somewhere else, I am now going to have to budget even further because any long range trip you are budgeting.
Yeah.
These are just things that down the line it's going to keep building up. Another reason to get taxed. Another reason to reduce mobility, to keep you in a smaller circle.
It's to help climate change because if you're less likely to travel, it's less pollutants in the air. You know.
Or so we are forced, or so the average consumer who don't want to save money, as it does, going to have to go to electric. Now the electric has over-the-air updates, and then they can do whatever the fuck they want to the car. And if the dealership says, well, we got a new model coming out. They're going to treat it like an iPhone. We're going to make the car shitty over time. Now it has less parts that have problems over time. Instead, we'll make it so that the computer starts getting a little weird, or there's a bug here, a failure there. 10 years down the line, you're 2023 fucking Dodge fucking Caravan or whatever, minivan, fucking whatever, just starts shitting out over time because now they don't have an excuse to service the car as well. They're gonna just add some over-the-air updates that, like an iPhone, too much memory. It's going to shit out, and now your battery pack's also going to be a problem too, and overheat, or the cells start dying. So it's just going to go down the same line as gas. It's not. It's an improvement in one way and also a detriment in the other, in that sense as well.
Well, think of it. Oh, did you hear about that guy who got charged $14,000 for autopilot on Tesla because he accidentally activated it?
Oh, you mean that thing that also doesn't fully work?
Yeah.
It's a beta. That'll also go on a rent.
No, so I guess there's like a combination, like if you tap the brake twice or something and like do something else, like it'll automatically activate the autopilot feature, but you have to, it's like DLC, and if you fucking do that, Tesla will charge you for the feature, which is $14,000 to unlock it.
If it's from doing just something like that, that is abhorrently fucking disgusting as a business practice.
Dude, I'm trying to remember what it was, because it was something like not a common move people would do. It was something like.
But even then, it should be something that you do over the dealer, or you do through the screen.
No, the guy was like, I wish it, like, because they've got the display in the Tesla. Like, I wish it popped up a display, just like be like to verify, like, hey, are you sure you just hit the code to activate autopilot? Are you sure? Because the charges will ensue in that case, which it didn't. The guy just, his credit card is fucking $14,000 charge.
I'm sure there's a delicious lawsuit for that lucky man.
Yeah,
who I'm sure will win, because that is ridiculous for that to be him.
No, he's probably gonna get it refunded.
That, or refunded,
because Alonzo Muskie is based. I'm just kidding. He's really not. He's got hair plugs. I don't trust him. You know what I mean? No, do you remember that? Like, have you ever seen a picture of him at PayPal where he's like balding his shit? Yeah.
You'd be surprised how many people that in just anywhere will do that. I almost get necessarily, if you have, I think it's like 10 grand now to do.
A lot of people in the car industry get hair plugs, right, Yimra?
Yeah, I got about.
Good.
I mean, I did 23 of me, so I know I'm good. They told me I'm good. Yeah. Unless they're lying. Why would they lie to me?
Why would they lie to me? I don't know. Why would they
lie on the internet?
Yeah.
But also, Tesla's autopilot is the biggest crock of bullshit ever, because one, other car companies are already basically doing that for free. You could buy a.
Well, like my Honda kind of does that in a sense. Like
most of these cars have some equivalent of it, not completely, but like
the lane assist. If you're driving too fast and you're getting too close to someone, it'll apply the brake for you.
Yeah, frontal collision avoidance assistance. Like say a Kia Stinger, one of my dream cars, because I have very boring dream cars. On the top trim, you can have your lane keep assist. It has stop, start, stop and go. What's it called? What's that fucking highway driving thing where you fuck with the thing on the steering wheel?
Cruise control.
Cruise control. So it has stop and go, cruise control, and the steering wheel also will turn as long as you can read the road lanes. So you literally have already an autopilot car technically to tell you to keep your hand on the steering wheel. That already exists in a car that costs $55,000 fully spec'd out. I think you still get that package with $52,000. So basically $50,000 for basically what Tesla's giving you.
I'm trying to remember. You know what? I keep thinking about this shit, like just how the government just fucks people over. Because I remember, like, man, years. I think I was still living in Illinois, so this was prior to 2008, where there was some people on TV, like I remember, like YouTube or something, where they converted a van to take literally like cooking oil, right? Used cooking oil, like that. They're like, yeah, this is a power van. Like we just drive around, we go to like a fucking like a restaurant that or like,
Yeah,
because they have their
no, that
vats
way
out
you're gonna
back.
throw out
Yeah,
process. Yeah,
they're gonna throw it out.
like a
Like, hey, use
container.
that,
Go
fill it up.
for
Like,
it.
great. Like, okay, what happened to that? Right? Probably got shut down. There was a guy, as you said, like 2 bullets to the back of the head, suicided. That working on like an electric car, like a cheap electric car. Fucking those plans are gone.
Mhm.
And then there was some other guy I remember hearing about, like right after Tesla's shit, like when they're starting, like, oh yeah, the autopilot. He's like, dude, your car's computer right now can handle that. He's like, but you need to tell
Yeah.
it what to do. So he was working on like a camera, like just mounting a camera on the
Mhm.
rear view mirror and shit, and another camera. It's like all you need is just like literally just one camera, right? Like one camera
Yeah.
facing forward, and then just a program in your car can be like any car that's got a computer on it, right?
Yeah.
Like you can make an autopilot for way cheaper. Like you,
It's not. I mean, you have enough sensors. Yeah,
yeah,
front sensors, bumpers, couple on the back, maybe one in each mirror, and 1 or 2 cameras. You already have a rear camera technically you could use, but you may want to have one a rear view and one in the front. Which those stop avoidance already have. If your car stops before it hits something, there's usually a sensor further up where your mirror is, right in the front. You may even actually see it on some new cars. Not only does the tech exist, but we basically already have it on most cars. It's just the it is really just a program, and then
you
also as long as
you know, I mean, I just like to blame the government. Naturally, is that
it's,
we could have had autopilot cars by now if
yeah,
it wasn't for the government,
that I
because
mean, I'm
it's a
not the
safety
biggest
thing.
fan of them necessarily.
Well,
It,
no, well, because you got to think about it. I mean, because obviously, like a computer can only do so much, right? So it's like I wouldn't trust it completely unless I was tired. Want to take a little nap at 4 a.m. driving to Illinois with my kids in the back asleep. Like
I
it's
would
fine,
want it
kids.
to be, measured to be safe. If I was, say, it's a long drive, for example, and if I want to dot off for a little bit, I never would. Still won't trust it, but I'd rather be trustworthy enough that it's been approved by several like boards of people who are. This is their fucking job.
You know what? That's where we'll take the last bit of this episode, I guess.
Just talk about the automotive industry.
No, just the trust, right? Because we just brought up is like if there was like an autopilot program implemented,
Mhm.
right? You'd want multiple independent agencies to verify how safe that is.
Yeah, you
Like do
can't just have
testing.
the one.
Yeah, you can't just have the one, like especially the one company saying the company that makes it tell you like, oh yeah, it's great. Like, dude, like we've done
Yeah,
tests all the time. It's great. Hey, yeah, come to this one test we have pre-programmed and it'll show you how great it is. Like, wait,
exactly. Like,
you pre, because Tesla did that. They did it like an
yeah,
auto driving test on their own track that
which
they
theirs doesn't even
programmed.
work properly half the time because it can't recognize still moving objects in certain instances.
Yeah,
It's a theirs is a glorified beta test that they're putting onto the customer that you pay for, which yet again, this isn't a fucking Call of Duty beta, like fucking session. It's a 30 plus $1,000 car where you have to put insurance into it. You got to charge this fucking thing. You could be going fucking once you hit like even 40 miles per hour, any crash is a bad fucking crash. 9 out of 10 times you're getting an injury. And if you're
yeah.
not, you're a fucking exception to the rule. Once you start hitting 60, 80, you probably wish you were dead if you do survive. You in 100, you're basically red mush. If you're alive from a 100 mile per hour crash, God is on your side, or the Satan wants you to suffer.
Yeah.
And when you're putting someone's life at a risk and you're a beta test and you're paying for it, that's one of the reasons I'm like, don't ever buy a fucking Tesla.
I
Don't
was
buy an electric car.
like Satan wants your punishment to be more severe.
And it's because you bought a Tesla and you're a
Yeah,
fucking idiot.
that's what you get.
You're an idiot for beta test. That's the one thing when people always are like, "We want a Tesla. Don't get a Tesla." Like, why do you hate Tesla? I was like,
So
I can give you about a billion reasons. Buy a fucking
yeah,
electric.
by
You want
far,
to flex on people, or an electric. I don't like Mercedes Benz and stuff. They overdo their computer shit to the point that their chips are a nightmare. There's like 100 plus chips in a Mercedes Benz, which means one of them going to short out and you're gonna have electrical problems.
Mm.
But at least they're not beta testing you on something that could actually end your fucking life, like the one guy. Well, he didn't die, but basically the thing was on autopilot. To be fair, there's a little bit of fault at the customer who
user
I
error.
get
Yeah,
the user who was sitting in the car on autopilot and there's a fucking truck that was turned over and it still crashed. The customer is in some way at fault. But for a computer system to not recognize a gigantic fucking wall of whites in front of it on a highway,
Yeah, that's a big
and
problem.
you're spending $14,000, that is fucking like disturbing, like on so many levels. It's just the fact you're paying for it. Even if it was
paying
free,
a premium for a
you're paying a
retarded ass
premium.
program.
It's
Congratulations.
one of those things that's just ridiculous that I don't understand, and people will still gush over these cars, which are
like I'll gush over the idea of it, but I understand the system in place that's approving this, right? Like there's palms being greased and shit, so it's like how trustworthy can it be? And we're seeing it a little bit, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's,
whatever.
A good example is those 0 to 60 tests, where the tires they usually put on the car are not the tires that come with the vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
They make sure to turn those tires as fast as they can so they can heat them up, make the rubber a little bit warmer. They use a track built for drag racing, so you want, the quickest, not drag racing, but that basically that sprint race, that quick, like, how quick can I get to from here to however many yards or feet. They do all this kind of stuff to give you a 0 to 60 number that's not really realistic to the average owner. Not that a 0 to 60 number matters to some people, because the people who are going to care about that are either idiots or they like fast cars. They want to know a number. But the number is usually off by at least even a quarter of a second, which is actually a big deal in that kind of world nowadays.
So
back in the day,
with the 0 to 60 shit is hilarious to me, because all the people are like, yeah, man, I'll go 0 to 60 in fucking 3.5 seconds. Bro, you live in the city. Like, you're never, ever gonna...
You're not tracking the car.
You're never gonna do that.
You're not doing a street race.
No, that's why I laugh at Sky, friend of the show, right? Like, it's like, bro, it's like, people are going 0 to 60 in the back of your car all the time. I'm waiting for him to...
He's got the money to actually go to a track.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll wait for him to text me tomorrow, or when I release the episode for audio, and be like, how dare you? How dare you say that about me?
It's just one of those things. Is like 0 to 60. It's a generally good indicator of fast code. But also, there's a thing with it where there's a common quote, at least with like cars. It's like, it's a lot more fun to drive a slow car fast and a fast car slow, because at the end of the day, you don't get on the highway, you hit the gas to get onto the highway because everyone else is a fucking idiot, including you, while driving. And you're probably hitting 0 to 60 at some point during that. Mm-hmm. And now I've driven cars that are 0 to 60 in like 3 point whatever. They're fun, sure, but there's no, after that 60 mark, I mean, you're already breaking the speed limit, you're gonna get pulled over eventually. And then also
on the highway.
No. Sure.
No.
What? State troopers in the New Jersey area are very persistent about speeding, because New Jersey state troopers are the vein of everybody's existence.
Yeah.
Because they're assholes. But there's a whole thing with, if you have a car, say the best example is like a Miata. Thing's not fucking fast. It's light and it's nimble, so it moves nice. It takes, like, depending which model you have, like 7 seconds. That's the most fun 7 seconds you'll ever have next to sex. I'm usually about 6. But that's beside the point.
I gave my wife about 7 last night. I'm just kidding. It was 6. It was 6. Let's be real.
But then you drive like a, let's say a Dodge Challenger, Hellcat. Fucking amazing car. And you're hearing 0 to 60 in whatever second. That's way less than 7. It's fun, but it's not as engaging, because there's no like, no, it's like, and we're done. We're done. We already hit the speed limit. Cops about to pull us over because we're an asshole.
Yeah.
Which is also just, it's one of those niche things where it's like, I like having over. That's why those drive modes are great, because I can just put the fucking thing in like an eco mode, and then I get that same feeling of like, ooh, I get to go fast, but like not too fast. No. And I put in the sport mode, and I almost
calm it down, Sonic.
We're not going to talk about Sonic for a little bit after the whole.
All right, so
day that shall not be.
I'm going to wrap this back to the government stuff.
Bring it back.
Because, we digress a little bit on the show.
I digress.
Just you? I know, because I forgot what I'm talking about.
I do it the most, purposely.
Very based.
I can't have an opinion on certain things. It's not my field.
So with like the independent like fact checkers, if you will, independent agencies that like vet to make sure like the shit is safe, right? Like that's what you want for like cars, like an autopilot program in a car, as we were talking about. Like you'd want multiple independent, like not involved with Tesla at all, even like partially like a stepbrother or something, step company. You don't want that. You want people like without bias to test these things, like whatever. And that can be branched off into like vaccines, for example. Um, Everything like drugs, like any drug you take.
And literally anything that you consume, deal with, anything you purchase,
Yes.
or anything, even a public thing, say a fucking bench, for example, you still want somebody to be able to look at and say that is safe. And maybe you want a second person, hell, even a third, and we can go even further depending on how important. Like for instance, let's say this. I don't want to drink
Absinthe.
this. Yeah, I mean this is already a bad example, but I mean alcohol can straight up fucking kill you. That is an accepted fact. It's one of the most deadliest fucking things on this planet, and we're legally allowed to have it because laws are weird and retarded. That's beside the point.
So the people like to drink and the tax money's dope off that.
Cringe. I just make it in my basement like an adult, allegedly.
So that's where you keep the kids? Okay. Just kidding. Go on.
Anyways, but say I buy a product like this. It's alcohol. We know it is not good for your health in general. They put a fucking label on it. That's required. That those studies have been done a bazillion times. People will stop being bought off to say, hey, maybe a pregnant woman shouldn't drink this, or same with cigarettes. That hey, a pregnant person shouldn't have this. Oh, this causes cancer. Okay, now those things are known. But if I buy this product, and also they find out at some point that not only does it eventually kill my kidneys, but it may also fucking stop my heart unrelated to normal alcohol because of one specific thing they put into it, that might, that's where those independent study people have to come in, because the company themselves is not going to report that. An independent study will. It's the same thing like those car companies will say they find a fault with the vehicle from the factory, and if it kills a certain amount of people, they pretty much will have to inform everybody else to do a recall. Like the Takata airbags are a really good example, where the airbag would go off and shrapnel would come out, or an inflator was not going off, properly inflating, so then people would crash was going. And I bet you at first that they didn't actually acknowledge it. It said, oh, it's just an exception. And probably somebody said, no, there's a serious problem with this. And Takata airbags were in almost just about every consumer car, not every consumer car, but a vast majority of the point that almost every brand was affected in one way or another about one of their products. But it took some time for that to become relevant enough that there was a recall. Because somebody somewhere noticed down the line, frankly too late, because even my car from 2012 had the Takata airbag issue. But I remember Toyota pickup trucks had the same thing. And then I think it was a Ford had Takata airbags. I think I'm still at my job now. I'm getting Takata airbag recalls still coming in every once in a while. It's and that's why you kind of need these independent people, because there's no incentive for most groups to admit they've done wrong. Same with politicians, same with most people, that they've done wrong, that they messed up, and they're going to lose money over it.
That's the thing I was getting at, is that when it comes to independent agencies that vet these products,
let's say actually independent.
Yeah, no, like legitimately,
not paid off.
Like not paid off, like actually, because you could sue them if it's wrong, right? If they got it wrong, you could sue them, right? Like, and that's the thing, because the government most times is what approves most things, right? You can't sue the government most of it, but good luck if you try. That's what I'm saying. Like with like the drug industry, right? Like a lot of people can't sue these companies because of government laws, like vaccines, for example. But where I wanted to finish with this episode was that it takes, from the FDA's website, it takes 10 to 12 years to approve most drugs, including vaccines, right? But now with the COVID vaccine, it's going to be less than a year, that maybe, right? Like about a year, and they will be able to approve one vaccine from some
Mhm.
company. So my question is it about money of why they take so long? Because the patent law, because patent law, like, do they take so long to approve it because they have no incentive to do it faster and to be adamant about it? And then it creates, like, are they getting their pockets padded to extend it out so they can go longer to get, like, these companies can make more money back on it? Because if you can approve a vaccine in a year, why haven't they been doing it sooner?
I think one part of it is long. You have to do long-term testing on something that you're into and that's meant for medical use. There has to be some type of long-term testing for anything like that.
Well, no,
That's part of the
that's
reason.
what I'm saying. But
Take a little
they're getting ready to submit approval for
bit longer.
the fucking COVID vaccines,
I understand.
and people are saying that it will be approved. They just want to, the only reason they haven't approved the vaccines is because they don't know how long the antibodies lasts.
Yeah.
That's why. I'm like, oh, if that's the reason, like everything could be approved way quicker, like half the time,
Yeah.
right? And like if there were private companies, like let's say the 10 to 12 could be 5 to 6, right? So that's less less time for a patent because that's how long people get patents for normally, right? Like I think it's like a 20-year patent, right? So it takes like 10 to 12 years to get a medicine approved by the FDA, and then they have like a 20-year patent on it, and then you can evergreen it if you tweak the formula a little bit. You can get an extended patent on that drug, eliminating competition, which makes everything so fucking expensive. So the thing is, now they're proving to me, which I already knew, everyone should already know this, is that if they're gonna approve these, like officially approve these fucking COVID vaccines in a year, it's a fucking money grab.
Yeah.
That's literally like it should be proof to everybody else. It's a fucking money grab.
And part of me wants to like be like, well, if it's an emergency situation, we can fast track certain aspects. Sure, but a year still seems way too quick because yet again, there's long-term effects. I mean, you're already seeing some people having like younger kids. Actually, I had a guy who came in. This kid got the jab, um,
The jab.
and he showed pictures to one of my coworkers because my job, sometimes we bullshit with the customers,
Sometimes.
and sometimes I try not to because I'm too busy.
Mhm.
And he was showing him like his kid, well, not his kid, his friend's kid, who's got the jab, and then he's got the paralysis on one side. You can see like a black and blue. The paralysis is all like trippy down here, like there's blood clot issues. And that's just like one example, and it's just like you're hearing things about like people being infertile, or there's an issue with a heart attack or blood clot, or the heart grows too big, and that's stuff that would have been found out in a longer term trial that didn't take, because you got to think about the timeline. There's this virus comes out. They immediately, obviously, I'm sure the CDC immediately grabbed samples as soon as humanly possible. Probably the second they knew it was a thing, they said, let's grab some samples. Let's figure out what this is. Let's know what it is, what type of virus, what type of, bacteria, what kind of infection, what does it do? Okay, now how can we solve this? And then they got everybody working. No, say it takes let's say it takes 3 months to figure out what it is. Okay, that's 3 months. Now you have to take time to find a way to fix it that doesn't automatically fucking blow someone's brains out. I gotta do rats being tested, monkeys, pigs. Those are usually your general three you go with. Rats because you
Mhm.
can just fucking do anything to rats. Pigs have a similar anatomy to humans in certain ways with how their organs are, the skin, et cetera, et cetera. Same with monkeys. Same are much closer, but pigs are usually used a little more often because there's a fuck ton of pigs out there.
Yep.
And then you do those trials forever how long, and then you now figure out, okay, well, this one won't immediately fucking kill you. This one won't give you cancer. This one won't stop your heart immediately. And then now, however long that takes, what, 6 months? And then another 6 months or 9 months, whatever. Then we have a vaccine. Now I have three companies with the vaccine, all within time of finding out what the virus is, what it does, how it infects you, the side effects of said illness, how to treat those and or kill the virus. Then go into animal trials then to human trials with no long-term testing, all within a year, give or take,
Yeah.
is
It's
not
sus.
only unheard of in the modern day, it's gonna probably lead to one of the biggest class action lawsuits in probably about 10 or so years, I bet.
And I don't want to be a part of
I
it.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
what awesome. You know, eventually, but either not
So-
have a choice or I'm gonna have to pay off a doctor, something like that.
So, I'm just hoping for the future where people be like, well, look, like fucking Republicans and shit. We're talking about like they were blowing the vaccine, like oh, it's Trump's vaccine, but you're not gonna take it. Why aren't you gonna take it? It hasn't been vetted, so why are you blowing Trump for it? You fucking idiots.
Because Trump did such a good job getting that vaccine out so quick.
But-
Yeah, I'm sure that won't lead to literally millions of having medical issues in the future.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like when 9/11 happened, they told all the cops, the firemen, the EMS guys, don't wear a gas mask. You're gonna be fine.
Yeah, dude, you're gonna be okay.
There'll be no issues with it. Or during the Gulf War, they started handing out those pills as a study, and then people had issues with their mental health and issues with being able to reproduce to have kids.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, those are just two very recent examples of somebody in an authority position pretty much just ignoring the problem. Not as if the NYPD couldn't, for example, with FDNY, the EMS couldn't afford to hand out gas masks.
Yeah.
Or that during the Gulf War, that the military-industrial complex does not have the money to test medication on not active duty grunt soldiers in the middle of a conflict, which is insane. Like I mean, that being said, they probably did tests on like military prisoners of war or guys who are in the military who committed a crime.
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, they probably did that too. But the fact that they did it to their own troops, Tuskegee experiment style, but while they're active in the Gulf War, is probably one of the most interesting, most ballsy things I've ever seen or heard of. And I've known people who've told me about that shit, who were serving in the Gulf War. It's just these positions of authority will say, it's safe, trust us, nothing bad's gonna happen, which immediately should give you some alarm bells.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. That if the purveyor of truth has the monopoly on truth, you should be suspect, very suspect of that information. So, all right,
be like a PI detective in a noir.
Oh hell yeah!
Just question everything until you find your own answers.
Be a questioning twink with questionable motives. But all right, so we're at it tonight. Yimra, thank you for coming out with me, because I thought you're coming out. No, you message on Discord weird sometimes, because I'm like, does that mean Yimra's here tonight or not? When you responded after Ben was saying he's like, yeah, I'm detained. I was like, what the hell? Is Yimra saying I'm alone tonight? Like, that's why I had to ask. So thank you for joining me. So yeah, so everyone that popped into the live stream, thank you for coming out, and we'll catch you next week.